They came from all over New England to compete for one goal. Hundreds of men and women chasing a dream. The chance to win a trip to Las Vegas and play against the world's best poker players on the world's biggest stage. Now the remaining players will fight for this opportunity of a lifetime to represent the Eastern Poker Tour in the World Series of Poker's main event. Welcome to Season 4 of the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions. I'm your host, Bernard Lee, alongside Andy Kaplan. This season, over 900 players competed for this day, the final table, and the ultimate prize, the World Series of Poker main event seat. With this season, brings new expectations and, of course, a new set of characters.
If I won the whole thing, I feel extremely happy. Bragging rights. That's almost more than the money.
It would mean the world. I won't be happy until I'm holding that trip to Vegas.
Not even for the money. It's just because I enjoy doing it.
Well, the money would be great. You know what I mean? I'd love to win it.
I am a student of biology at Eastern Connecticut State University. So I think I try to put some towards my student loans and maybe go on vacation somewhere, go out to eat with the family, stuff that I haven't been able to do.
It's going to make me feel good. I mean, this is the biggest accomplishment you can get on the Eastern Poker Tour, so I feel very good about it.
Let's see where they initially stand in their chip counts. Stan's experience is going to be a huge factor. I really think that he may be able to utilize it early, and you never know, may be able to run over the table.
Whoa, I mean, you just want to hand him the trophy here.
Well, true.
You know, the other players, they have World Series of Poker experience. They've been to WPT at Foxwoods. They're going to fight to the death to win this thing and hopefully take it down.
Well, Season 4 of the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions is now underway. The players are ready to go. The cards have been dealt. And the blinds right now are starting out at 3,000 and 6,000. Robert from Warwick, Rhode Island has folded, and now the action is over to Ashley. She's lining up some chips, 15,000, and she's raised it up with Big Slick, Ace of Hearts, King of Diamonds.
Bernard, they call the silent assassin.
Well, Stan from the big blind has called. Well, you know what? He might have been behind with his A6 offsuit pre-flop, but he has now taken the lead post-flop with a flop of 8 of clubs, 5 of spades, 6 of clubs, and unfortunately for this silent assassin, she will not take down her first opponent as Stan wins the first pot of the Season 4 of the Eastern Poker Tour.
This is an absolute classic of Beauty versus the Beast, Bernard.
Well, unfortunately for the Beauty, she did not win. She made a very interesting bet of 2.5 times the big blind, and I think that really shows that she might be interested in playing some post-flop play. Most players who want to play will bet less, but if they want to raise and get players off the hand, we're talking about a 3 to 4 times the bet. Well, let's get to the second hand. Blinds again are 3,000, 6,000, and the action has folded over to Bill in Quincy. Well, he has folded, as does Stan and Skip. Robin on the button from Mansfield, Massachusetts, looking down at her hand.
Now, Robin, she uses a drunkie, which she calls it's a cross between a donkey and a dragon that she has as a card protector. She says it brings her good luck. We'll see.
Well, right now, she's kind of utilized the donkey part of that by just calling from the button. I'm not really sure if this is a good play. Right here and there, you've got to utilize your position. King 8 is not a bad hand. The average hand in heads-up play is Queen 7. This is an opportunity for her to have raised.
We call it a drunkie play.
Well, she could have easily raised with any 2 cards, but now she's invited the small and big blind to call, and they both have an interesting flop. 4 of spades, 3 of spades, 10 of clubs gives Robin a flush draw and hit Hugh with top pair. And Hugh is going to tell the table that's what he has as he fires out 20,000 to start play. Paul's going to fold his 2 raggedy cards, but Robin is going to come along for the ride. 6 of diamonds on the turn. Hugh's not going to fool around here with his top pair.
Now, Robin's a retail analyst from Pepsi. She's going to have to really analyze this hand better than she has.
Well, she's got a very tough decision right here. With her flush draw, she's got 9 outs. Maybe her king is good, which would add 3 more outs. She's got a pretty tough decision. She's on TV for the first time. Obviously, she doesn't want to look foolish, and she obviously doesn't want to get knocked out right away. So this is going to be a tough call for her. Would not be surprised if she folds and saves her chips, saving her ammunition for another fight.
Yeah, they're bantering back and forth. They have a lot of history in this tournament, Hugh and Robin, and Robin does decide to fold here.
Well, the bell is definitely rung, and Hugh has taken down this significant pot. Robin, passive play, could have taken down 9,000 with the blinds right away with a raise, but unfortunately, she lost 26,000. We'll see if that's going to significantly affect her later on in the tournament.
That's why I drink Coke, Bernard.
There you go.
No Pepsi for me, kid.
What? I had a four flush on that. 3,000, 6,000. I know.
Blinds are still 3,000 and 6,000 here at the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions. Action is folded around once again to Bill. Bill seems a little bit of a deliberate player, which is no problem with that. It actually allows players to take their time thinking about the action.
Or he just blacks out.
Well, Skip has raised here to 18,000. And Stan from Quincy, Massachusetts, our previous final tableist from Season 2, has made the call with pocket eights. A very, very interesting hand is going to develop here because if these two gentlemen go to the flop and see some overcards, that's going to really make it interesting. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Both blinds have folded, and now we're going to have a heads-up situation between Skip and Stan.
I think what Stan is saying here is my shirt is nicer than yours, Skip.
Well, off to the flop we go. 7 of clubs, 3 of diamonds, 2 of spades. Well, here, very interesting. It's actually a good flop for both players. No overcards, no major issues. Skip is going to come out firing for 24,000 with his pocket fives. Well, Stan's now an interesting decision. What is he going to do? He's got the overpair, and the odds are the next card is going to make that overpair disappear potentially with a face card or anything over an 8. It looks like he's getting out firing chips.
60,000.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to raise here to 60,000 to send a message along to Skip.
His message is, I have a better shirt than you, Skip.
Well, Skip's going to have to make a major decision here. He is the chip leader, but Stan is probably the person that is closest to him, and he doesn't want to double him up. Doubling him up here would really hurt his chances of making it deep, and he is going to wisely fold this hand. Stan's going to take down a very nice pot.
Yes, Stan, you do have a better shirt than me.
Well, the cowbell rings one more time, and the bell is rung for Skip as Stan takes down this pot here on the Eastern Poker Tour. Well, we're back down to the action at the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions final table. The action is starting off with Paul.
I think everybody knows that Paul did not like his hand.
He definitely needs to work on his tells a little bit. Blinds are up to 4,000 and 8,000.
Fold.
Most players are playing very, very passively right now, starting off, which is very common at a final table. Players are trying to feel each other out. It is folded around all the way to the small blind here, and Robin will limp into the pot with 10-8 offsuit.
It's your classic retail analyst versus the custodian.
Hugh from East Falmouth has decided to check his option. We are off to the classic battle between these two. King of diamonds, ace of spades, 3 of diamonds. Really hits nobody. I guess Hugh has a gut shot straight draw, but both of them check. The turn hits the 4 of clubs. This hits Hugh.
Check.
A little surprising that Hugh checks here. I would have bet here to take it down, and of course, what happens?
I got an 8.
Robin now catches up. She gets the 8 on the river and is going to take this pot down. A little bit of passive play, maybe being very, very cautious, not wanting to take a huge hit on his stack. But Robin has taken down her first pot, and Hughes looks a little disappointed that he didn't make a bet on the turn. Passive play really has dominated the play early on, but let's see if aggression will start taking over when we come back here on the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table.
Well, welcome back to the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. We're back down at the Felt. As you can see, Skip is a huge chip leader, but we'll see if some of these other players can catch up and potentially take home the title, which will ultimately lead to a trip to the World Series of Poker's main event.
I'm going to raise 24.
Raise 24,000 is the bet.
The action is folded around to our chip leader, and he has raised it up to 24,000.
Skip is my man.
Well, he's your man that you chose right out of the gate. Ace of spades,
100,000.
king of spades. Now, my man is deciding to make his stand, and guess what? This is the perfect opportunity. Ace of hearts, ace of spades. He's praying that Skip will make a move back. Well, Robert has asked and begged for aces. It's going to have to be the two black ones because obviously we know that Stan's got the two red aces. Action's folded back around to Skip. It's 100,000. He shoved all in. Obviously, he's not going to like this at all. Shoving in at a very, very inopportune time.
Now, I love Skip, but, it looks like he, on a 16-hour drive back from North Carolina, he stopped off at a Six Flags gift shop to buy his wardrobe for this final table.
Well, maybe his decision-making was blinded by that shirt because right now he is in a lot of trouble. A flop of 7-7-6, turn of Jack. He is now drawing dead, and we have now doubled up Stan, and he is the clear chip leader, and Skip's stack has really been decimated. A really poor play, unfortunately. We talked about this earlier, where Skip did not have to take any major chances, and now he has made a move against Stan, and unfortunately, he has doubled up, probably the person that you wanted to double up least at that final table. Blinds are 4,000 and 8,000, and Robin sitting under the gun is first to act.
I'm going to raise.
Raise.
She's decided to raise here.
8,000.
4-8.
22 on top.
Her sitting with ace of
30,000
clubs,
is bet.
king of clubs. She is raised to 30,000, just about 4 times the big blind. Ace of king has become a very, very popular hand here.
I just noticed that Paul and Rob are actually playing in the game.
Well, they've both folded right now, and the action has gone over to Bill and from Quincy. He has said if he's going to make a move, it's going to be with a big hand, and he has his own ace-king suited.
The Verizon technician has moved all in, and it looks like an easy call for the drunkie.
I call.
Well, as you said, Robin has a very, very easy call. The dronky is going to cap her cards, simply calling this bet, and both of them are going to show ace-king suited. Well, listen, both a diamond and a club has come out. They both have a shot to win this hand.
Good hand.
Both of them had a 5% chance, but over 90% possibility of chopping the pot, and that's exactly what happened here as Robin and Bill have split this pot.
Don't give me a sympathy bell.
I'll tell you, Bernard, that's the same look that my Verizon tech gives me when he says he's going to be there between 4 and 8.
Well, the bell rung, but probably only midway for Bill as they both chopped this pot. Both of them are still in the hunt to win the World Series main event seat here in the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of
It would
Champions.
be foolish for me to lay down no matter what I had for
I'm
12
not getting you off. I
grand
know
more.
that.
We are back to the action. The blinds are still 4,000 and 8,000.
Robin and Hugh are bantering it up, probably from past play. They seem to be going at it pretty good. Laughing, smiling, loving.
They've definitely had a lot of interaction and playing against it.
Touching.
Is touching allowed in poker?
I think it's a penalty.
It's a warning first. But so far, the good-natured ribbing is going back and forth amongst this table.
Paul will fold again. I like to state the obvious.
Rob's going to look down through his sunglasses.
Gaspy Rob, they call him. He's a steel worker from Warwick, Rhode Island.
Action around the bill.
I'll call the 8.
Now, Bernard, I love this call with 2-3 suited.
Are you sure? Have you looked very carefully?
Of course I don't like it. Are you kidding me? Who calls with 2-3 suited?
Well, also on the button, this is a situation if you are going to play. This is very similar to what we talked about with Robin's hand, but give Robin some credit. Robin had a hand then. If Stan's going to play here, let's raise and let's eliminate the field.
Stan's moved into the bizarro world, I think, at this point.
I'm not really sure about this hand, but right now he's invited the small and big blinds to party along, and they have. Hughes hit a very, very solid flush draw. Stan's staring at bottom pair, wondering if he should play or not. Well, he thought the better of it. Obviously, he came to his senses.
He came out of his slumber.
Well, Robin's actually had a very, very good read on Hugh, laying down a flush draw to Hugh's top pair with her tens. And right now she's implying to Hugh that has a flush draw.
You think?
I think they should just probably get a room and get it over with.
Well, the banter continues between the two, and Robin will lay down the pair. She was an underdog in that hand, but she definitely is reading cue very, very well, and we'll see if she can utilize that to her advantage later on. Action's back down to the felt. The blinds are still 4 and 8. The button is sitting on Hugh. The action starts off with Ashley, and she folds.
Paul and Rob have to get active here. Their chips are getting dangerously low.
Fold.
Action is folded around to our chip leader.
What are the blinds? 4-8.
4-8.
Bernard just told you 4-8.
28.
Stan needs to be listening a little bit more toward us, but he is going to raise. Ace of clubs, 9 of diamonds, and is making it 28,000.
Paul may play a hand. Let's wait and see.
Paul,
Could it be?
The silent one has decided to throw in the rest of his chips.
Am I allowed to say?
He waited all this time for a pair of threes, Bernard.
Well, you know what? To be honest, he's going to be at least somewhat pleased because if Stan held any pair, he would have been dominated. Amazingly, he is somewhat in the lead right now.
If we wait long enough, Paul can go through every combination in the deck to find out what Stan has.
Or they can just flip their cards over. And that's exactly what they've done. Paul's shown pocket threes. Stan has 2 overcards with the ace-9 offsuit. The flop is 10 of clubs, king of spades, jack of hearts, giving some more outs. 6 of hearts. Oh, but the ace of diamonds on the river has eliminated our first player from this tournament.
Paul, we hardly knew you. Stan sweeps his first victim out the door.
Paul from Mansfield, Massachusetts, is our 8th place finisher. Stan, the man, has now increased his chip stack and continues his dominance here at the final table. When we return, we'll see if Stan can continue this and become the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions winner.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table.
Well, welcome back to the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions. We have seen passive poker rule the early parts of this final table. And unfortunately for Paul, his passive poker allowed himself to get blinded down. We are down to our final 7.
Paul was in the event?
Yeah.
We hardly knew you, Paul.
Well, unfortunately for Paul, he is no longer with us, but let's get back down to the action with the final 7. Robert from Warwick, Rhode Island on the button. Our chip leader Stan has just folded, as does Robin. And Hugh. This is a good opportunity for Robert to make a move from the button, but unfortunately passive play continues to reign strong here.
Now Ashley has 2 moves here, shove or shove.
She doesn't have a very big chip stack. King Jack, a solid hand in heads up. I completely agree. There's really one move that she could have made. She probably should have done it and obviously would have taken this pot down, but Bill checks his option. Here's the flop, 9-3-5 complete rainbow.
Now you shove.
Ashley decides to take the conservative route, ace of clubs.
Now you shove.
Nothing. 6 of clubs on the river.
Checky.
Checky. No checky, shovey.
Well, her check here is going to allow Bill to take the pot. Any aggressive move here is going to be able to win the pot. A 10,000 bet, and Ashley's going to quickly fold. Well, as Andy said, this was not a check move. This was definitely an aggressive move. Ashley would have taken that pot down.
Ashley, I know your nickname's a silent assassin, but you're really going to have to pick up your aggression here at the final table.
Unfortunately, Ashley has been sitting very passively, understandably, as she is a student and works part-time, and the money would mean a lot to her. But she's going to have to ramp up this play and also ramp up the aggression if she has a chance to win this title and eventually potentially go to the World Series of Poker's main event. Blinds here are still at 4,000, 8,000. Action is over to Stan, the chip leader.
Fold.
Now, Robin has been inactive for quite some time here. She looks down at her cards, and they have her talking to her, drunky.
Having a conversation in my head that apparently doesn't exist.
Okay.
And she continues to talk to her little mascot. Robert, who's been very, very inactive here, decides to make a stand here. He has a pretty good hand, ace of clubs, jack of spades, and is going to raise.
Yep, the steel worker finally throws down the hammer and raises.
He's raised to 25,000, just a little over 3 times the big blind. Ashley folds. Bill decides to lay it down from the small blind. Well, Skip from the big blind is making his stand. He's lost previously with his ace-king to Stan's aces. Rob's going to make the call, and this time Skip's going to be very, very happy as he flips over his pocket kings. Rob has ace-jack.
Look at the emotion of Skip.
Their chip stacks are very, very close. This is going to be a critical hand for one of these players.
He can hardly contain himself.
3 of spades, 8 of diamonds, 8 of clubs.
Look at him celebrating in his head.
10 of diamonds on the turn.
He's done it. He's done it. He outlasted him.
Well, they're going to count down the chips. We believe from our vantage point, it looks like Rob has just a few more chips. They're really, really close. Either person, if either one has, even if Rob has more chips, he is going to be crippled from this tournament. So they're counting it down right now.
30.
You know, I haven't seen this much emotion since I went to the Labor Day parade with my parents.
That's 50.
It does look like Rob is not going to be eliminated. It looks like he has just a few more chips remaining, but he doesn't even have a small blind left. It looks like he's got about 2,500 chips left. And Skip has doubled back up to around 150,000 or so, but still a far cry from his original starting chip stack of today.
How long before we get a break? Hey.
Blinds here are still 4,000, 8,000. We are winding down this level. Bill is on the button, and Skip and Stan are both in the blinds.
The frustration with Robin and her cards and the Dronky, all three of them together, is mounting.
The action is over to Robert. 2,500 chips left, and he has decided to push all in. Only with the Jack-8 offsuit, but in true honesty, I don't blame him at all. He really has to get a double up, a triple up, for him to have any chance of staying in this event. Bill on the button will fold. Skip is going to complete the big blind with ace-king. Stan is going to call with ace-4. I think this is, unfortunately, a bad play from Skip, because had Skip raised here, he would now take Stan's 5,500 and basically be playing for free. And so now he's taking a chance that Stan might actually hit the flop. Okay. The flop pretty much missed both players, but gave Skip a gut shot straight draw.
Oh, now he's got the nuts.
Well, now he's got the gut shot straight draw. Skip is shoved all in, and I think this is a good move because there is a double flush draw on the board. Skip doesn't want that to come potentially home. He's got the nuts, and he's probably got Rob dominated, and he does. Rob is drawing dead, and pretty much Rob will be eliminated here. Unfortunately, his ace-jack versus kings was the real demise to him, but now his Jack-8 is going to go down to Skip's ace.
Good game, guys.
Skip once again is celebrating in his head.
Good game.
Well, unfortunately, with the elimination of Rob in 7th place, we are down to our final 6 players. Skip started out as the chip leader, but now Stan has overtaken that role. Let's see if that can continue, or maybe somebody else may overtake Stan himself. For Andy Kaplan, I'm Bernard Lee. We'll see you next week here on the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table.